was the journey of a lifetime for dozens of World War II veterans this weekend. And tonight, Shawn Kline brings us the first in a four-part series of stories that really drive home the meaning of Memorial Day.
Army, Air Corps, Navy, Marines.
Thank you for coming today, dear.
Together again after nearly 70 years.
To see so many people who did the same thing I did and still be here and live to tell it, now that's very unusual.
We're going to be leaving here momentarily. Once we do get airborne, it's going to be a 2.5-hour flight up there.
World War II flight nurse Teddy Anderson joined 78 other veterans on Louisiana Honor Air's final flight to the nation's capital.
I never thought this is in my lifetime that anybody would do anything like this to honor those of us who went because we felt like we needed to, and now all of a sudden you're a celebrity.
They never had anything until the World War II Museum Memorial was built. So we want to take them up to see it. And that's why it's very special.
The veterans refer to her as Miss Sally, one of the organizers for Louisiana Honor Air. She's been helping with these flights since 2007, but this is the last. An opportunity for an aging generation of World War II vets to step off the plane and visit the capital of the country they served. More than 5 million people visit this memorial every year, and for many of the vets on this trip, it'll be their first time, and for some, the last. Hear more of their stories on a Memorial Day special on KTC tomorrow. Shawn Kline, Washington.
It's emotional. It's emotional for me. I almost want to tear.
Thank you for joining us for this Memorial Day. 79 World War II veterans got the chance of a lifetime to visit our and the memorials there. KTC's Maddie Garrett went along for the ride. It's the second part of our special Memorial Day series on Louisiana Honor Air's final flight.
As they emerged from the plane in Washington, D.C., it was a hero's welcome for some of our nation's greatest military men and women.
Unbelievable, believe me. When we hit that airport, I was overwhelmed, really.
It was the trip of a lifetime for these soldiers, Marines, and sailors.
Thank you for your service. Welcome to Memorial.
A chance to visit the National World War II Memorial and pay their respects one last time.
I'm glad I lived long enough to see it.
It's beautiful, and it's got so much meaning to it. Had it not been for this flight, I would never have seen this.
For these vets, the war is still fresh in their minds. It doesn't seem like it ended nearly 65 years ago.
I remember D-Day because I was there, and that's what it brings back to me.
It's emotional. It's emotional for me.
Being here at the memorial in Washington, D.C. conjures up many memories for these veterans, but most of them center around these 4,000 stars that represent the brothers and sisters in war that died.
The many person that those stars represent, we can never repay their lives.
A debt that can never be repaid.
They will never be forgotten, so we should not forget them.
As a dying generation of veterans pay tribute to their comrades lost and the victories won so long ago.
Words is hard to describe. I almost want to tear.
Everywhere you go, come shake your hand. Thanks for your help, you know. We did what we could, you know. It was wonderful.
Reporting in Washington, D.C., I'm Maddie Garrett for KATC TV3.
An honor for those veterans indeed. Well, and every year fewer and fewer World War II veterans celebrate Memorial Day. And for one Acadiana Marine, this was his last chance to pay his respects to a memorial in Washington, D.C. that's very personal to him. KTC's Maddie Garrett continues our special series on Louisiana Honor Air's final flight.
This Memorial Day weekend was bittersweet for World War II veteran Earl Flatt. After a somber trip to the Arlington National Cemetery, the group of soldiers, Marines, and sailors made their way to the Iwo Jima Memorial, a personal visit for Earl.
But these other two, they raised the second flag. They were paratrooper brothers.
These aren't just faces on a monument, but the faces of his close friends from his time as a Marine in World War II.
We didn't know that was going to make history. We thought we could go home the next day, get on the ship and go home.
But they didn't go home, and he lost many comrades in Japan in the following days.
I see that flag almost every day in my mind. I think of my brothers at least every other day that died so that we could be here today. That's what I think about.
For this Marine, the red, white, and blue wave heart every single day, but perhaps more so on this day as he gazes upon it from our nation's capital.
It signifies that it's still there. It signifies that the flag represents freedom. It signifies that it represents the United States, the greatest country the world has ever known.
As the number of surviving World War II veterans dwindles, Earl knows this will most likely be his last trip to one of the most sacred places in his heart.
It's the monument that I respect the most. It's not, that belongs to anybody. It belongs to the Marine Corps and all Marines and all people who love freedom. It's not mine, ma'am. I just enjoy it more than any other memorial.
As they prepare to leave our nation's capital, this is probably the last trip these veterans will ever take here. But the memories and honor they feel will live on long after this trip is over. Reporting in Washington, D.C., I'm Maddie Garrett for KATC TV3.
Well, it was the journey of a lifetime for some of Louisiana's World War II veterans, a trip to Washington, D.C. But their return home was just as powerful. KATC's Shawn Kline brings us the final part of our four-part series from Washington.
79 veterans of the greatest generation together again on what some of them say was the best Memorial Day ever.
That Iwo Jima monument, that was my favorite.
World War II Memorial. Tell you, everybody, you know, all the states that was in it, seen so many people that, you know, was right from Louisiana. It was a real good experience.
The biggest part was when we came out, so many people that was so welcoming.
A hero's welcome for these vets in Washington, only to be outdone by friends and family at home. Tanner Messina, just one of 4 left in a whole family that served in World War II.
It's nice to have a crowd like this, the people are still interested in the way we do things, you know.
We're free today because of them. He is a real hero. He's the type of person to give you the shirt off his back and do anything for you.
Just one of many doing what they could for their country. Now, finally getting their welcome home 65 years later.
To serve this country, and there's only 4 of us left, but it feels good that people still take care of.
This was the last flight for Louisiana Honor Air. Local World War II vets now waiting for another group to pick up the torch and give others of the greatest generation a chance to be a hero once again. In Lafayette, Shawn Kline, KATC TV3.